Mrs. Green Apple, we are back with the album Antenna, and we are on to track 3 of our track by track listen through to the whole thing. This song is called I'm Invincible, which is a very positive message to put out there. I wouldn't try, going into traffic with that attitude though. However, I'm Invincible. I'm excited about this in part. Well, this whole album I'm excited about because obviously it's the first album that they did since becoming a 3-piece. That's something I didn't realise until I actually started recording this track by track album review. But yeah, I'm Invincible in particular. I'm excited about this because it has no music video. And as I said when I did the album review to Attitude, always get these album names confused, but Attitude that I did before this, I was always especially interested by any song that didn't have a music video, because I always feel, well, if you're not putting out a music video, that means that you got a bit of freedom here. This isn't a song you're putting out front and center. This isn't something you're leading with. This is one of those songs that it could just be filler, or it could be an area where you decided to do something a little bit more experimental for the fans, and that is what we're going to check out now. So anyway, again, nothing really to tell me what this song's like. I will just say, obviously, as it's a track by track, we started off with Antenna, which I think was a good opening track, although not the best Mrs. Green Apple song, certainly a good strong opening song. You had a bit of punch to it. Then we had Magic, which was just a quintessential example of how to do like a song that is going to be a chart topper. But I felt, honestly, Magic for me felt like a much more fulfilling, much more well layered and musically interesting listen. So yeah, let's see what we get from I'm Invincible, a song that is just an album track and therefore could be something awesome. Let's go. さあ怖くはない不安はない私の夢はみんなの願い Nice crisp start. Very anthemic alt rock. I like it when Mrs. Green Apple does these double time songs. Lots of strings in this though again. The guitar sounds in this are crispy. Little bit of string there. Interested where the chorus goes with this. That reminds me a lot of the chorus drums in About Me. Oh, nailing that high note. It's a real foot stomper, this one. Why must you contradict me? That was really fun. I really feel like he's getting, he's having fun singing on this, It's a powerful vocal performance, but it's a really fun vocal performance. Oh, another left turn. I guess in a way this is the bridge, despite everything that's happened so far. We're only technically arriving at the bridge now. Yeah, having a little bit of fun there with those sort of like popping in and out loud bits. Again, there's a lot of very carefree kind of just wistful playfulness going on this.
しか持ってないその弱さが照らすの最愛の日々忘れぬ誓い
I like that little step up there.
夢が私の心臓何度でも
Yeah, we're not just repeating the chorus, we're like lifting the arrangement up at this point. You can hear all the backing instruments.
私は最強
Everything's stepping up in the
あ
background.
なたと最強
We get it, you like the high notes.
あなたと最強
I thought the last note was just going to be like a quick final bam, but instead it was just like he had to hold that note one last time. Okay, this was actually really interesting on a few levels. I feel like the more and more we do these reactions to Mrs. Green Apple songs, a lot of what we're talking about is obviously the areas where songs step apart from what we would normally expect and go in a different direction, and ways in which they build on the things that are obviously kind of like the quintessential Mrs. Green Apple sounds. Now, there's a lot about this which is, again, quintessential Mrs. Green Apple. You know, he's getting to have those big rising vocals and he's hitting the big notes and he's having a lot of fun. We have the string arrangement in the background. But actually, one of the things that I felt was most Mrs. Green Apple, and I mean this in a positive way, rather than just, you know, sort of repeating thing. One of the things that was most interestingly and positively Mrs. Green Apple-esque about this song was the playful way in which there were just little bits coming in and out that just were just like these little temporary ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this for a little bit, and then it never comes out. It never comes up again. That's actually one of the things that I did notice a lot on Attitude that I really enjoyed, was occasionally there would just be these little silly ideas and they would appear for like just a couple of bars in a song and then go away. And I really like that because it just shows that there's this playfulness with one idea, and also the sort of feeling that, you know, it's okay to just have a little idea that works in one part of a song. So here we had a couple of moments like that. We had in the second verse where suddenly it turns da, 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 da. We're going to go a swing rhythm before everything comes back to rock again. Then we had that moment in the I don't think I can quite call it a bridge, but that little middle eight section between the two last choruses where we kind of had like a bit of an instrumental. And then there was just this loud sort of distorted guitar. And I think there was like a distorted drum kit in there as well, which just sort of popped in for a couple of beats, blah, 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 and then went away. But it wasn't even like regular loud, stop, loud, stop. It was loud, stop, loud, stop, loud, stop, loud, stop. You know, it was just sort of like coming and going in these really sort of irregular ways, which was fun because you could tell it's the sort of thing that on first listen, you're just sort of thinking to yourself like, oh, it's coming in, oh, it's going. Oh, it's kind of like keeps you on the edge of your seat, wondering when it's going to happen again. But to someone who's heard the song a lot, it's going to be something you'll become familiar with, and it will become fun and playful. Kind of almost reminds me of what was that? This song is way before my time, but like the Rocky theme song with Eye of the Tiger, where if you've ever heard that, it's got a da 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 like the riff, but there's one bit where it just like an extra couple of beats is put in. Da, 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 just to like break up the riff in a really irregular way. That I think, yeah, anyone who knows that song is kind of familiar with it, and you get to that point and you hold on. So anyway, I think this is one of those examples. If you know what I'm talking about, it'd be very obvious. If not, then this is just going to sound like I'm waffling randomly, as I think a lot of these reviews do. But I just felt like this was a song that was full of some really interesting, just playful ideas, right down to the way that he was singing and expressing himself. There was just a feeling that this was constructed with a real sense of fun. But then when they got that song and they moved it into the studio and they're playing around and they've probably already written the arrangement, they're putting it all together, you get the feeling then that the Mrs. Green Apple sense of professionalism and thickly layered arrangement really kicks in, because then we get the strings, we get that bit at the end of the song where it really maturely builds up. You know, the chord pattern stays the same, but the strings underneath, they sort of move from just doing this la 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 over the top, they start to become rising up, big lifting sounds that are pulling the chord pattern up, and everything starts to become a bigger sound. You know, it has a more symphonic sound towards the end as the strings start to galvanize around the chord pattern that the guitar and the bass had been mostly playing for the best part of the song prior to that. It's a song that for me really feels like a beautiful mixture of playful, silly, random ideas, combined with some really mature construction and song arrangement, meaning that it kind of has the best of both worlds here. I can understand why it's not a single. I would say the reason why I think it's not a single, it's not quite catchy enough. The funny thing is, for all the ideas it has, the chorus is good, but there's nothing about the chorus that really makes it sort of stand out. And, you know, if you're going to have a big single, the chorus has kind of got a hit. The chorus of this was just kind of fine. It was not bad. It was not great. It was just like, yeah, it was good. But yeah, you wouldn't make a single out of this one. This just felt like a band having fun, not going so far outside of their normal wheelhouse. Yeah, the song is a little bit more just sort of straight rock at its beginning and perhaps at its core. But a lot of the things they do in the way that, as I mentioned, they structured the arrangement with those playful moments and with the big sort of symphonic use of the strings at the end to really lift everything up and give you that final crescendo. That to me was very much Mrs. Green Apple being Mrs. Green Apple. So I think this was a really strong song for an album track. For an album track for what would be in the derogatory sense referred to as a filler. This is a really good filler. I also think it carries on the energy nicely. Antenna sort of kicked us off with a bit of punch. Magic really built upon that. And now I'm Invincible takes us in a less of a pop chart topper kind of direction, but it takes us in a direction of a song that certainly takes all that energy and carries it forwards in a really interesting and different way. So I'm interested to get into Blizzard next. Now Blizzard especially because a lot of people, even back when I was doing my reaction to Attitude, a lot of people were telling me, oh, I can't wait to hear what you think of Blizzard. So we're about to find out in the next reaction, but until we get to that next reaction, I've just got to say a big thank you to all of you for watching these and for the wonderful comments I always get underneath the Mrs. Green Apple videos. I always notice when I talk about certain bands and I get really good conversations going where people have an interesting opinion and there's a lot of back and forth and respectful talk. Those are always bands I feel much more enthusiastic to quickly get on to doing more songs by, because I look forward to those kind of positive comments. So thank you so much for all the wonderful comments I get under all these videos. And until I hopefully see you in the next one of these videos, until then, for now, ciao ciao.